Hey guys, welcome back. So today I thought I would talk about British crime dramas. If you're anything like me, you have probably watched almost all of them, if not all of them, that come on BBC. And when I say BBC, I guess technically I meant just British crime dramas in general, but BBC is the only channel that I know, and most of the British crime dramas that I watch come on BBC, though I have watched some on Netflix. So anyway, I wanted to share with you some books to go with certain BBC shows. That way, if you are interested in these shows, you could have a brand new series to follow along. So I actually came up with this idea this past weekend when I was watching The Fall, which is obviously a British crime drama, and it got me thinking about all of the other ones that I had seen in the past. And so I figured, why not go ahead and gather a list of books, because since I also read a lot of mystery and thrillers, I feel like the two go hand in hand a lot. If you are a fan of British crime dramas, you'll notice that they share a lot of similarities with mystery and thriller books, be it the harder hitting ones or even the cozy mysteries. So I thought it would be fun to kind of sync the shows with the different book series. That way, if you do want to kind of continue the vibe of a particular show within a book, you've got an entire series to choose from. Just so you know, all of the books that I am recommending are part of a series because I thought it would play nicely with having seasons of the shows. You then have series of these books. That way, if you do like the books, or rather if you do like the first book that you read, you have an entire series to continue on with. As usual, let me know in the comments if you have read any of these, what you thought, or even if you have your own kind of recommendations based on British crime dramas. And while we're at it, go ahead and tell me your favorite British crime drama as well. I know for me, let me not skip ahead and spoil which shows we're about to talk about. Anyway, without further ado, let's just jump right in. The first show that I want to talk about is Luther with Idris Elba. If you've never seen this show, it is about a London police detective who is solving, obviously, murders. And what stands out about this, other than Idris Elba's excellent performance, is the fact that his character is kind of this gruff, take no prisoners kind of detective, and he always toes the line, that gray area between right and wrong, just to essentially get results. So that said, the series that I want to recommend to go with that is John Sanford's Lucas Davenport series. Lucas Davenport is another police detective. This one is set in America, but that doesn't really make a difference. The reason that I chose this one is because Lucas is also kind of that lone wolf kind of cop, and he often toes the line between right and wrong and the gray area to get results. The first book is called Rules of Prey, and I think it's an excellent introduction. I don't think you necessarily need to read the series in order, but if you're anything like me and you want to start from book one, that's where you can start. Next, we have the Sherlock series, Sherlock the TV show with Benedict Cumberbatch. I really love this series. If I'm being completely honest, I've never actually read the Sherlock Holmes books, but when this interpretation of Sherlock came out on BBC, I was all about it. I mean, I love his character. I love the relationship between him and Watson, and I especially love that they set it in a more modern time and that he has this texting addiction. But anyway, the series that I am recommending to correspond with that is the Lincoln Rhymes series by Jeffrey DEAVER. I feel like I am talking about this series in nearly every video, but guys, it's so good. You have Lincoln Rhymes, who is a quadriplegic. He is a New York City cop consultant. He used to be a detective, but obviously with his new condition, he's no longer able to do that anymore. And he is highly intelligent, like Sherlock. He is always one step ahead. And what I like about this series is that in each book, the bad guy that he goes against is really on his level. So it challenges him to think ahead and do what he needs to do to get inside the mind of the killer. So just like the John Sanford SANDFORD books, you don't need to read these in order. There is kind of an underlying plot in terms of character developments that go throughout the books, but if you don't read them in a linear fashion, it's totally okay. You're not going to miss out on anything. However, I do want to point out that if you are especially captivated by the Sherlock episodes where he is toe-to-toe against Moriarty, his nemesis, then I would highly recommend skipping ahead to books 7 and 9, I believe, called The Cold Moon, which is book 7, and The Burning Wire, which is book 9. Both of these books feature a character called the Watchmaker, who is essentially Lincoln Rhymes' Moriarty. This guy is highly intelligent. He always evades the cops, and so for that reason, I like these ones because it does seem a lot more similar to Sherlock versus Moriarty. You've got Lincoln Rhymes versus the Watchmaker. Okay, so on a more lighter note, I want to switch gears and talk about Rosemary and Thyme. This is a super cute BBC production that features 2 older women who are amateur sleuths, and they also happen to have a passion for plants and gardening, hence Rosemary and Thyme. I love the fact that their names are kind of a pun on their hobbies. So anyway, if you like this series, then I would recommend, actually, I've got a couple. One, I've got the Murder, She Wrote series, which, as we all know, featured Jessica Fletcher, who was also kind of an older woman, and she is a amateur sleuth as well, who always happens to find herself in the midst of a murder plot. Just side note really quick, I have to share with you guys this super funny theory that my husband has, because he knows how much that I love the show and thus love the corresponding book adaptations, and he says that she is Cabot Cove's most infamous serial killer because, well, one, she lives in Cabot Cove, but she always happens to be in the wrong place at the right time, and so he jokes that she's the one committing all of these murders. So don't listen to him, read the books, they're super fun. But another series that I want to recommend for you guys, if you like this show, is the Flower Shop Mysteries by Kate Collins. If you like Rosemary and Thyme for the gardening aspect, then the Flower Shop Mysteries are a perfect cozy mystery because it features a main character who owns a flower shop. So you get all of your gardening needs with that one. Okay, so next up we have Broadchurch. I think I may have actually seen this one on Netflix. I don't remember, but it features, what is his name? David something. It's the guy who plays Doctor Who, and that's all I can remember. But anyway, it features him and his female partner, and they are investigating a murder of a young boy in this small sleepy town in the UK. And it's a lot more darker in tone than the Rosemary and Thyme, but it's still super enthralling. It's not very long, and to be honest, if you've never seen it, I would recommend watching it over the weekend. That said, if you're looking for a book series to correspond with that, then check out Tammy Hoag's Liska and Kovac series. It also features a male-female partnership in terms of the detectives. One of them is kind of like your gruff cop. You've got the other one who's like this wisecracker. It's not too funny, but they do foil well with each other. So I would say that you should check that out if you want something a little bit darker in tone. Ooh, okay, so this next one is the Agatha Raisin series, which it holds a special place in my heart. I think it's super charming. It's another one of those shows that is set in this quaint small town in the UK somewhere. Guys, I'm terrible with geography, so all I know is it's set in England. Anyway, if you like this series, well, first of all, if you didn't know, Agatha Raisin was originally a book series by the awesomely prolific MC Beaton. So that said, I would actually recommend MC Beaton's other series, the Hamish Macbeth mysteries. Now, I will say this one, I mean, depending on how similar you want them, Agatha Raisin is obviously a woman while Hamish is a man, but that doesn't make a difference because they're both set in the quaint countryside, and like I said, MC Beaton's writing is so distinct that if you like the Agatha Raisin series, then I'm sure you'll love the Hamish one. So I would definitely recommend checking that one out. And also, while you're at it, if you've never read the Agatha Raisin books, go ahead and check those out as well. There's a lot of them, first of all, but they're all super charming. I like to read them year-round as they kind of line up with different holidays. That's just me personally, but you can technically read them in any order, as well as the Hamish Macbeth ones. So last up we have The Fall, which I actually just watched this weekend and is the entire reason for this video. It stars Gillian Andrews. That's not her last name. It features the woman from X-Files. I'm forgetting what her name is. But anyway, it's a dark psychological thriller. It is a cat and mouse game between this woman detective and then obviously this psychopathic killer. And if you like this one, then I would recommend the Harry Hole series by Joe Nesbø. This series is prolific in its own right, but we follow Harry, who is a detective, as he solves different crimes, and just like the other ones, let me say really quick, you can read them in any order. In fact, I would actually recommend starting off either with the very first one or with the most recent one, which is called Knife, which came out this year. It's getting rave reviews. But what I like about this one is that Harry is dealing with his own problematic past, much like our main character in The Fall. So if you like that kind of behind the scenes, then definitely check out the Harry Hole series because it does the same thing. I believe at some point Harry becomes like an alcoholic and he loses his job at one point, and I think in one of the books he's actually on vacation because he was put on leave, and they end up calling him back in for a case. So all in all, definitely a good one. Like I said, especially if you like those darker psychological mysteries, then definitely check that out. Okay guys, that is it. 6 series depending on which BBC crime drama that you're into. I hope you enjoyed these recommendations or at least found them useful. Let me know in the comments as usual if you have read any of these or if you have your own TV show recommendations that you like to share. I am not well versed in all of the BBC crime dramas, but that's definitely something that I'm trying to rectify. I'm making my way slowly through them. But yeah, that about wraps it up, and until next time, bye!